The Senate has passed a landmark constitution alteration bill seeking to establish state police across the Federation, marking a major step in Nigeria's decades-long debate over decentralizing the country's policing structure to address worsening insecurity. Senate President Godswill Akpabio announced the passage of the legislation after lawmakers overwhelmingly backed the proposal during plenary. Joining us on this show to discuss the Senate's passage of State Police Bill and its implications is Dr. Monday Ubani, a senior advocate of Nigeria. Good morning, Dr. Ubani, and thank you very much for joining us on the morning show. Okay.
Thank you, Prof. Ruben, and thank you, my brother and my sister in the house. Of course, Rufai used to be my client, and now he's a friend. He still remains a friend. Thank you for having me.
Okay, I read the piece you wrote on the police bill and the process in the National Assembly, describing it as historic. But you have some concerns about fidelity to the idea of federalism, about the roles proposed for both the federal police and also the state police, and you were even saying, you know, local councils should be involved and all of that. If you could just take us through what you have already written and that is in the public domain and your concerns.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, my brother. I did. I wrote it last night, and of course I distributed it, widely, and you read it. Now the issue is that this is the most historic and then bold, legacy. It's a milestone. It's clearly a milestone by this particular government, and it's really commendable. The restructuring of our federal system of governance, have actually started. And this is something we have advocated over the years, the issue of decentralizing the policing system. If Rufai could remember, I have appeared in his particular program then when we discussed about state police, and several questions were thrown at me, and I was able to give a satisfactory answer that we need state policing, that this issue of over-centralization cannot in any way guarantee lives and properties. And over the years, we have seen that we have not been able to attain that level of perfection in terms of proper policing. And this arrangement by this government is clearly something that is commendable, especially by this 10th Assembly, and highly historic. And we are very happy concerning that. Of course, I did state that, and I really commend the government for taking these practical steps, in really, decentralizing the policing architecture. Now, having said that, now the fear of everyone, including those who, were hit by this news yesterday, is the issue of abuse by the state governors. We have seen what has happened over the time, with how the power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts, when given to these state governors. And we are very afraid of that. But the safeguards, the guardrails has also been provided in the bill itself, ensuring that some of those monopoly that the governors, will really use to cause abuse is actually removed one way or the other, especially in the appointment of the State Police Commission, and then in the issue of recruitment, and all that. But if it still remains in the hands of the governor to appoint the commissioner of police, I don't know how it's going to work, in terms of reducing the abusive system that may likely, occur with regards of appointment, because who pays the piper detects the tune. So my own suggestion would have been, and I did, suggest that it is the State Police Service Commission that should actually be the one to appoint whoever is going to be the state commissioner of police, So, but now they have left it in the hands of the governor. Then, of course, the State House of Assembly has to ratify that appointment. So, but for me, the issue of abuse is something that is still real. But with the provision and guardrail that have been made available in the new bill, which if it goes through the entire states, 24 states, and then the president signs, it's something that we believe in implementation. We now begin to see whether there are going to be flaws. If there are flaws, then we begin to correct them. There is no perfect law, and I want to say it. There is no perfect law anywhere in the world, including in the developed economies. But the most important thing is implementation. How effective are we going to be show some level of fidelity to the provisions of the law and implement it according to the intention of those who have actually enacted the law. That again is very critical. And then I said something that is very more fundamental, issue of local government. Without a functional local government, and I'm saying it here to the national, to the entire nation, without a functional local government, no matter the level of architecture of security you provide in the country, you will not be able to get that expected and effective security of lives and property. We need to have a functional local government, in addition to state policing arrangement that we have put in place. That is what I want to say as my opening remarks. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Two questions very quickly. I was going to ask around, and I'm glad you touched on it, closing, the role or what role should the local government play? Like you've mentioned, I read your article around the fact that they are indeed the closest government to the people. So what role should ideally the local governments play? Then my second question would be around the debates, one of the most debated aspects of the proposal, which pertains to the circumstances under which the federal government could intervene in the operations of state police service. They've said that under exceptional situations, including breakdown of public orders, would you see that as, how can that be properly managed so that it's not taken advantage of and then it pushes back again the spirit of state police?
Thank you. With regards to the local government, see, security is local. If I'm a local government chairman, I'm from Ikuano in Abia State, and I'm the chairman of that local government. I know all the exit and entry point in my local government. I know all the exit and entry point, and then I ensure that the security personnel, take care of those entry and exit point, and then cooperate with the state itself, because collaboration is very important for it to succeed. So if I'm in charge of my entry point and I'm in charge of my exit point, then no stranger, no person comes into my territory without, my knowledge, without, giving specific reason why you are coming in. And so that has to be taken care of. There are 774 local governments in the entire federation. Now, if all the local government are allowed to operate fully and they are in charge of security in their various local government, tell me why Nigeria will not be safe. As I speak to you today, there are so many ungoverned states, ungoverned space in Nigeria. Most local governments are being controlled by bandits. Why? Because the local government is not functional. They just give them whatever they want to give to them, and they are not in charge of securing their environment. So I'm saying, if I'm in charge, and I know the exit points, I know all the entry points, you can't enter my local government without my knowledge, without telling me why you are entering into my local government, especially for those who are into crime. So that has to be the starting point. And then you do this in collaboration with the state. So that is the most effective way, because issue of security is local. People know all those, who are the bad boys in the entire environment. So you recruit those men that can also take care of them and all that. So my take is that you must give them the money that the federal government gives every month to the local government. It doesn't get to them. The governors are intercepting that money and using it for some other reasons that have actually rendered local government, clearly ineffective. So I believe that that is the first practical step we need to take. And I've been saying it over the years, nobody wants to pay attention. I'm very happy that the state police, we've spoken over 20 years ago, have become a reality. The issue of functional local government, one day in this country, it will be a reality. And I remember last 2 or 3 years where this government, expressed some level of, interest in order to ensure that the money gets to them. But after some time, the governors came and the whole thing died natural death, and we are still back to where we are. We cannot have effective administration of security in this country without a functional local government. Okay. Now, on the second question, if you could remind me again, let me answer the question.
At what point the federal police intervenes in states, saying that where there are circumstances of exceptional situations?
Correct. Now, it happens even in America, where the federal police comes in, where there is total, overwhelming of the security apparatus at the state level, or where there is an abuse, where there is likelihood of abuse, and people cry out that they are being oppressed in the state by the by the state executive using the police apparatus and all that. The federal government comes in. There must be checks and balance in every situation. We must balance life. Life is about balancing. The moment you leave power in the hand of one individual without monitoring, without ensuring that there is balance, then you run into problems. But the point again is that if you have a judiciary that is actually effective and very alive to its responsibility, it will also help in creating that balance. Even where the federal government becomes overbearing and overburdensome, it will become burdensome to the state. The courts come in and say, no, you cannot do this and all that. So those safeguards have been provided in the law. But how these things will be implemented, how the judiciary will give a proper interpretation to give balancing is what also matters. So balancing is key. We may also begin to experience oppression from the federal government in the usage of this power that has been given to them. But the most important thing is the judiciary must be alive to its responsibility in creating balance wherever there is any excess, either at the state level or at the federal level.
Oga Obadi, God bless you. What judiciary? Is it the same judiciary that gave a ruling to the registered party that the Court of Appeal came in and say, what kind of judgment is this? Is it the same judiciary we are talking about? So, or is it the same local government that will do the work and get the work done? The same local government that is almost non-functional? And let's not deceive ourselves. So this is my argument against state police. The reason for the security breakdown in the country is caused by the politicians. This Boko Haram we are talking about has a political, historical line to it. We all know Mohammed Yusuf now. When he was making those statements in favor of some politicians, some people emboldened him. Most of the splinter that started the Boko Haram before the funding came through some people that were funded politically. Politicians are in bed with these bandits. There's a story of somebody that was on Daily Trust yesterday saying that politicians pay for Hajj. Yeah. For bandits. They pay for Hajj. I mean, you see the hypocrisy of these countries too. How can somebody be a bandit and you still go to Hajj? Oh my God. Politicians pay for bandits to go to Hajj. So there's a level of political complicity. Will the state police remove the complicity or embolden the complicity? For me, that's what I think it will do. Because the same local political architecture will now say that we have the power to be able to, with the way we are going, the state police will be dominated by bandits. So it's ex-bandits that will be operating state police. So those are my fears.
We cannot stop doing certain things because of the fact that those issues you have raised, are there. The most important thing in this new arrangement is one, employing professional policemen and training them, retraining, and then funding them. I have seen a situation where if Nigerian police want to work, I mean, my brother Rufai, listen to me. If Nigerian police want to work, you have seen it happen most times. I've seen you praise them also on your television where they want to work, where there is this issue of encouragement and support, and they want to work. They will work. Irrespective of those issues you have raised, they are there. I agree that it has antecedent. I mean, the issue of Boko Haram and all the banditry, all the problem we're having today in terms of crime, there is some level of complicity. But are we going to fold our hands and say, oh, we're not going to do anything? No, we must continue to do, because we are having some people in this country also who have good intention for the nation. We have patriotic men and women, and they are in majority. But the point is that they need the support, they need the encouragement, they need the funding. Now that we are going to have state police, and these guys will be properly funded, if they are properly funded and well trained, why are they better off when they go abroad? Why are they doing it better when they are over, overseas and all that? It's because of the conducive environment. So if the environment is conducive and we have a functional system, we have institutions that are working like the judicial system you just mentioned, all of them, and all of us are working. Even the press, we're all working. The lawyers are working. Why can't we have a country that is, that resembles what happens in other nations? So I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to, because of whatever has happened in the time past, and say, oh, let's fold our hands and take into no practical step. What has happened yesterday was very historic, very bold. And when we begin to deploy the law itself, and begin to see flaw, we begin to correct them. No perfect law, no perfect system, until we get to a level in this country where all of us will sit down and say, God, thank you for making us to do and pursue this righteous path, and we have gotten to that level. I'm not going to give up, my brother, and I don't want you to give up. Nigeria has many prospects. We have so many prospects, and we will succeed. But the most important thing is that we must continue the advocacy. We must begin to say it the way it's supposed to be said. And at the end, it will be a country all of us will be proud, very proud of.
Thank you so much, Dr. Monday Ubani, SAN. Thanks for your time with us this morning as we evaluate, analyze state police and the way forward. Thank you very much.